It's Black History Month, and if you've seen our last video, you know that Black History Month in the UK has political origins. So let's explore some political movements which have an impact in shaping the world around us today. In the UK political scene, immigration is a hot topic, with cries to restrict and disregard immigrants at every turn. But this isn't anything new. In fact, only the 1948 British Nationality Act, stating all Commonwealth citizens could have British passports and come and work in the UK, opened doors. And that's because the UK needed more workers after World War II to rebuild the country. It only took 14 years, however, for the UK to do a 180 on their views of immigrants, and they created a voucher system to restrict the number of immigrants coming in. This was due to the Commonwealth Immigration Act of 1962. So what does immigration rules have to do with black political movements? The British Black Panther Party, one of the most prominent political movements in the UK at the time, were against the Immigration Act of 1971, which was an act that allowed the government to stop black and Asian communities from entering the country, while simultaneously allowing people from Australia and New Zealand to enter freely. This was clearly unfair, and they held a protest of over 10,000 people to combat this. The British Black Panther Party were inspired by the Black Panther Party in America, and they were formed in 1968 in Notting Hill. The party began grassroots organising of black communities in England around each community's issues of racial discrimination. They soon moved their headquarters to Brixton, a poorer black community in London. The Panthers became a highly effective community organisation tool. They also collaborated on white working class issues and fought British imperialism. They were openly against police brutality, they defended communities against fascist violence, held civil rights demonstrations, and supported the Caribbean and Palestinian communities. The British Black Panther Party were also vital to fight and improve the Race Relations Acts. And while there were some improvements in 1968, mainly that they named discrimination in employment and housing to be illegal, there was still lots of work to be done. Education was another huge barrier for black people in the UK, solely because of race and ethnical origin. Students were being banded as less academically able. There was even a mass movement of placing black students in special schools, formerly known as ESN, educationally subnormal, because of racial bias. The Black Education Movement was formed to fight this. A notable stream of the Black Education Movement was the Black Parents Movement, which was triggered after the arrest of Cliff McDaniel, a black youth outside his school in Hampstead, North London. McDaniel was well known to pupils and parents of the George Padmore Supplementary School, and these parents and communities formed more black supplementary schools and even organised community homeschooling in order to give their kids education that state-enforced schools would just simply couldn't do. The Black Education Movement was more prominent in the 60s and the 70s, and they again fought issues of education, police, housing, unemployment, in which these founder members had all been subject to. And even today, black people still face police violence and disproportionate stops and searches and arrests all over the world. And in the wake of George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the recent resurfacing of the Black Lives Matter movement, we can see a worldwide display of solidarity, whether it be Black Lives Matter UK or protests held all over the globe really. Where do these ideas of solidarity stem from? Pan-Africanism is a worldwide movement that aims to encourage and strengthen bonds of solidarity between all indigenous and diaspora ethnic groups of African descent. Based on the common goal dating back to the Atlantic slave trade, the movement extends beyond continental Africans, with a substantial support base among the African diaspora everywhere. In Jamaica, Marcus Garvey, considered to be one of the forefathers of Pan-Africanism, called for a formation of a united Africa for the Africans of the world. And if any lessons are to be learned from these political movements, is that nothing can be done alone. In all of the political movements, whether it be the Black Education Movement, the Black Parent Movement, the British Black Panthers, or even Black Lives Matter, it shows that change can't be done alone.